this going. And go.
Good evening to our brothers across the world. We welcome our guests, silhouettes, veterans, family, and friends of the Brothers of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. On behalf of our Grand Polemarch, Reuben A. Shelton III, Esquire, as well as retired Major General Hawthorne Pete Proctor, Chair of the Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated Military and Veterans Affairs Commission, welcome. Welcome to our 85th Virtual Conclave Military and Veterans Formal Awards Ceremony. I am Colonel Miles Caggins III. It is my honor to guide you this evening. We've opened tonight's event to the public because we know that Kappa men, since our founding, have been supported by family and friends, whether we're serving in the Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, Coast Guard, or Space Force. We know that we could not do our role without the support of those who care about us and those who we love. We will open tonight with honors to the nation, followed by a video invocation led by Brother Reverend Dr. Howard John Wesley, our 78th Laurel Wreath awardee. For all guests, as the Star Spangled Banner is played, if you're physically able, please place your right hand over your heart. We'll now have honors to our nation.
Reset. Off.
Well, thank you to Brother Wesley for bringing us in with the invocation. As we're all readjusted, let's set the scene for this evening's event by looking back at our fraternity's history. Our fraternity was founded January 5th, 1911, a few years prior to World War I, and the history of our noble clan is full of brothers who served in the military. In fact, 7 of our founders wore the cloth of our nation. Each of the men of Kappa Alpha Psi, whether they were volunteers or draftees, took an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Kappas have participated in all military operations since World War I, and following the example of the courageous Ebony Doughboys, Noops have served and sacrificed in all of our nation's wars. Tonight is about honoring all Kappa men who have served in our military, and specifically, 4 brothers will receive awards for achievements in the military and for their service to Kappa Alpha Psi. Earlier this year on Memorial Day, we announced our new Chapter Invisible Mortally Wounded program. This initiative will require each of us, everybody who's on here, all of our family and friends, everybody's assistance is required to identify all Kappas who've perished in combat. At our next in-person conclave, we will hold a by-name reading of all Kappas killed in action in each of our nation's wars. We owe it to them to do everything we can find the names of all brothers who gave everything in combat. We've reached a point in our ceremony to honor our fallen comrades and those who are missing in action. Please continue focusing on your screens and reflect on the sacrifices made by men and women who have deployed to far-flung corners of the world, ready to face down our enemies and defend American values. Our fallen comrades and missing in action. All right, well, that was our tribute to our fallen comrades. Continuing on tonight, it is my honor to introduce the chairman of the Military and Veterans Affairs Commission, retired U.S. Army Major General Hawthorne Pete Proctor, joining us from Florida. Brother Proctor.
Greetings to all, brothers, guests, family, and friends. What a way to kick off this year's award ceremony. Thanks, Brother Caggins, for getting us off to a great start. Let me thank all of those who are watching tonight, as well as our esteemed polemarch, Grand Polemarch, Reuben A. Shelton III, Esquire, for your continued support. The Military and Veterans Affairs Commission, or MVAC, has been blessed by having a terrific team of professionals who continue to provide sustained support of our serving military, cadets, veterans, their families, and the fraternity's youth programs. If you missed the Military Mentoring Program or the Veterans Affairs Seminar earlier this week, let me encourage you to go online and view these examples of excellence personified. Tonight is our MVAC culminating event, and we celebrate all who have served and are serving in our armed forces. Thank you and your families for your service and sacrifices to our great nation. Our theme for this year's award event is Achieving Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion in a Combat-Ready Force. Tonight, we celebrate our great Navy and our awardees who have performed with distinction throughout the terms of their service. We're delighted to have as our guest speaker our dear brother, Vice Admiral Retired Edward Moore, and our host, Rear Admiral Dion English. And I would be remiss if I did not highlight the support from Rear Admiral Retired John Smith and Captain Retired Rob Dews, another Tyler supporter. Now I'm honored to welcome our 34th Grand Polemarch, Reuben A. Shelton III, Esquire, who is leading our great fraternity by focusing on brother-to-brother, breaking barriers, and building bridges for an ever-achieving brotherhood. Please join me in welcoming our fraternity's own caring and dynamic leader.
Thank you, Brother Proctor. Brothers, I cannot tell you how happy I am to see all of you all. It has been so long since we've been in each other's presence. Brother Vi, so good to see you, sir. Brother Caggins, Brother Dwight Thomas, all the brothers on the screen here. Brother Vice Admiral Moore, I really enjoyed your video yesterday during the business session. I learned so much about you, brother, and it is so impressive. And I think you're going to be joining the ranks of Brother Vi at real soon here. So thank you for all you brothers for all you do, especially for the fraternity. But good evening, brothers. And during this 85th virtual Grand Chapter meeting, it is such an honor to be at the Military and Veterans Affairs Award ceremony. The men we honor today, they represent the very best in military service and service to capital. And I welcome our awardees and their families and congratulate all on these honors. And I'd especially like to thank the families for putting up with the demands of military life. I never had the honor to serve in the military, but I had several relatives that did. And I know those demands can be pretty strenuous. And all too often, they compete with family time. Sometimes even when your loved ones are at home, they're not entirely at home. And so thank you, families, for all you do to support our men in uniform. Your support and sacrifice over the years have allowed our military forces to be the best in the world. And I'm pleased to have this opportunity to express my appreciation directly to you. And so thank you all for all you do, and I truly appreciate your service. Captains have achieved in the military from the very beginning of our fraternity's history. As mentioned by Brother Kagan, 7 of our 10 founders served America in uniform. The first Black American to achieve a 4-star general rank in our military is a cavalryman, the late Brother Daniel Chappie James Jr. And as our fraternity's 29th recipient of the Laurel Wreath Award, our highest award, General James' U.S. Air Force achievements were peerless. He left a great, great legacy. Our brother General Chappie James said, "The power of excellence is overwhelming and is always in demand." And that is why we celebrate tonight's awards. The brothers we honor this evening and all of our veterans, with their energy, intellect, drive, determination, have lifted our military to a higher plane, making the USA live up to its potential for good. Now, before proceeding, I want to acknowledge two of our senior leaders in the Navy who are participating in today's ceremony. The first is Rear Admiral Dion English, who currently serves as the Director, Logistics, Fleet Supply and Ordnance in the U.S. Pacific Fleet, and retired Vice Admiral Edward Moore, Jr. As Grand Polemarch, I am exceedingly proud of the professional achievements, leadership, and most importantly, your continued volunteerism for our fraternity. And I say anchors away, my brothers. I would be remiss if I did not take this opportunity to congratulate Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin for becoming the first Black Secretary of Defense and also our first Military and Veterans Affairs Awards Banquet Speaker back in 2017. He remains to this day a friend of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity and all the Divine Nine organizations. Now, in closing, brothers, I have to recognize and acknowledge the driving force behind all that you see and are experiencing today. Today's ceremony could not have been possible without our MVAC team. And I ask that you please give them a round of applause for all that they do and for all that they have done for this great cause. And I also ask that you please give a huge round of applause to Major General Retired, my brother, our brother, my friend, Brother Hawthorne P. Proctor and his MVAC staff. Brother Proctor, I still have your coin. You owe me a drink. I carry it just about everywhere I go. This celebration is his brainchild and passion. And he has done a magnificent job creating a vehicle that allows our fraternity to appropriately recognize and celebrate the men and women in uniform who risk their lives and often pay the ultimate price for our freedoms. And not only that, this past Memorial Day, again, as Brother Kaggins mentioned, we launched a program to identify and honor all Kappa brothers who were mortally wounded during combat operations since World War I. So the MVAC has forged a strong relationship with the U.S. Army's Cadet Command, and it has resulted in ROTC scholarships for some of our young college brothers and funds to sponsor our undergraduate leadership programs. The MVAC is connecting military brothers across the world and honoring them at each Kappa Grand Chapter meeting. So I commend Brother General Hawthorne Pete Proctor and MVAC for these programs that strengthen our fraternity's brotherhood and commitment to our nation's finest. So again, brothers, congratulations to this year's recipients. May God continue to bless each and every one of you. And may God continue to bless this great nation that we live in. Thank you, my brothers.
Thank you, Brother Grand Polemarch.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Brother Grand Polemarch, again for placing military and veterans issues as a top priority for your administration. We appreciate you. At each Grand Conclave meeting for more than a decade, Kappas have assembled for a formal banquet. While this year we're unable to take our fabulous photo with brothers decked out in military regalia and accoutrements and other brothers in their black and white tuxedos, we are still going to continue our tradition of rotating this event through the respective services. This year is the Navy's year, And I introduce to you Navy Rear Admiral Dion English, who's joining us all the way from Honolulu, Hawaii. Brother English.
Thank you, Brother Caggins. Good evening, Brother Grand Polemarch Shelton, brothers, families, and friends. I also want to extend my sincere appreciation and heartiest of congratulations to our awardees and their families. Your personal and professional achievements are truly noteworthy, exemplary, and they're definitely in keeping with our tradition of achievement and excellence. Your examples resonate throughout our respective services, and they highlight the value of our contribution to leadership at all levels. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is not new to us. We live it daily, and it served as an impetus to our founders as they started us on this journey back in 1911. Since the Navy has the opportunity to host this MVAC Awards banquet, we would like for you to hear from our Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral Michael Gilday, with his thoughts on Kappa Alpha Psi and their contribution to the Navy.
Hello, everyone. I'm Chief of Naval Operations, Admiral Mike Gilday. I'd like to thank Grand Polemarch Reuben A. Shelton and the entire Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity for inviting me
In addition to the brothers mentioned in the CNO's video, we have two other brothers who've reached flag rank in the Navy. Rear Admiral retired Robert Toney, who transitioned to Chapter Invisible in 2016, and Rear Admiral retired Will Metz. To demonstrate what the CNO sees in members of Kappa Alpha Psi, our next video gives a look at our brothers operating and achieving at the highest level across multiple platforms in the world's greatest Navy. After watching those brothers in action, I am incredibly inspired about the future of our fraternity and our military. They personify achievement in every field of human endeavor. Speaking of achievement in every field of human endeavor, it is my distinct honor and privilege to introduce tonight's guest speaker, Vice Admiral Edward Moore, Jr., United States Navy, retired. Vice Admiral Moore was born in New York City and grew up in Little Rock, Arkansas. He's the son of Mr. Edward Moore, Sr., who's a former Navy Chief Petty Officer, and Ms. Freddie Hayes Moore. He's also the oldest of 4 children. He served in the United States Navy from April 2nd, 1963 to July 1st, 2001, a little more than 38 years. He began his naval service with a stint as an enlisted man and then entered college after boot camp. He was commissioned as a surface warfare officer upon graduation. At the time of his retirement, he was the highest ranking African American in the U.S. Navy. During his time in the Navy, he commanded 2 warships, becoming the first Black naval officer to command a Ticonderoga-class Aegis cruiser. He commanded the Naval District of Washington and was the battle group commander of the USS Carl Vinson Battle Group. His final tour was as Commander, Naval Surface Forces Pacific, where he was directly responsible for combat readiness of half of the Navy's surface fleet. He spent 17 of his 38 years of naval service at sea, including 2 of those years serving in support of combat operations off the coast of Vietnam. Vice Admiral Moore has been awarded the nation's highest non-combat medal, the Distinguished Service Medal. He also has 5 awards of the Legion of Merit, the Defense Meritorious Service Medal, and many other personal, service, and campaign awards. As remarkable as these achievements are, it's important to note that they were done in the late 60s, 70s, and 80s, when the degree of difficulty was higher and where he had to break ceilings and blaze trails to make it possible for people like me and those brothers we just saw in the video to follow. On behalf of all of us, sir, thank you. Thank you for what you've done for us. After the Navy, he served as a senior executive for 2 defense contractors, on numerous boards of directors, and continues to volunteer in several capacities. Most notably, he's been nominated for the coveted Laurel Wreath, and his nomination will be voted on during this year's Grand Chapter meeting. Vice Admiral Moore currently resides with his wife, Deborah, in Hemet, California. His achievements and accolades are many. However, at this point, I think it's best you hear from the man himself. Brothers, families, and guests, Vice Admiral Edward Moore, Jr.
Good afternoon and good evening, brothers, all guests and friends of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity and our military services. Thank you for your interest in this award ceremony. Thank you, Brother Admiral Dion English, for your kind introduction. It's been a genuine pleasure getting to know you and to work with you, as well as Brothers Rear Admiral John Boomer Smith and Captain Robert Dews over the last few months, as we discussed and debated and collaborated for the Navy portion of tonight's celebration. Your wisdom, counsel, honest and straightforward suggestions, as well as direct work with Navy active duty leadership, are very much appreciated. It's often hard and determined work behind the scenes that is the most meaningful and impactful toward the success of an event. It's also axiomatic that it is that type of preparatory work which is often overlooked and under-recognized. I acknowledge all 3 of you up front tonight because I'm genuinely grateful for your persistence, perseverance, and effectiveness in solving the challenges. You are a fantastic team. Thank you. Protocol having been established, I will not repeat the litany here, but I do want to thank Grand Polemarch Reuben A. Shelton III, Esquire, and MVAC Chairman Major General Hawthorne Pete Proctor, and the entire Military and Veteran Affairs Commission for their support, guidance, and diligent work to mold and shape this ceremony into a premier conclave event. Congratulations to our award recipients tonight, Brothers Jackson, Jones, Thomas, and Peters, You are exemplars of what it means to serve. Duty, honor, country, you feel these and more every minute of every day. You can and should be justifiably proud of your accomplishments. And tonight's recognition of your achievements is meant to acknowledge that we see you and take note of your impact within your organizations and community. When Brother General Proctor called 2 years ago to ask whether I would be interested in providing guest speaker remarks tonight, little did we appreciate how different the event would be, meaning having to conduct it and the entire conclave via virtual means. It is truly a great misfortune that we cannot all be together in person, because our in-person social contact is so much a vital part of what it makes these gatherings a huge success and so very memorable for all in attendance. The Conclave Planning Committee and IHQ leadership have been navigating uncharted waters with this virtual experience. I think you will agree they've done an incredible job orchestrating all that has transpired this past week. Similarly, the U.S. military services have a long history and tradition of also making lemonade out of lemons. And with that in mind, I'm going to spend the next few moments providing remarks about the ongoing effort to achieve diversity, equity, and inclusion in a combat-ready Navy. Now, I ask that you bear in mind that I have a sense that the audience here this evening is composed mostly of retired service people and a few active duty service members and family members. But being unable to look out at an audience and see who you all are, I'm making a leap of faith, and you'll understand why in just a bit. In the first video, you heard Admiral Michael Gilday, the current Chief of Naval Operations, broadly describe the importance, the serious intent, the necessity of ensuring that the people who serve at all levels in the Navy mirror our broader society. It is no secret that the Navy has long struggled to achieve diversity, especially amongst officers serving in the combat arms branches, what the Navy calls warfare communities. Among all the competing strategic big picture issues, resources, policy, strategy, technology, force levels, force composition, weapons mix, the human factors of trying to establish, maintain, and most importantly, sustain a diverse force that reflects equity and inclusion across 340,000 plus active duty members is one of the most important issues demanding Navy leadership's time and attention. Why? Because none of the other issues I just enumerated matter if you don't have the right mix of people. And all of this renewed focus is taking place against a backdrop of broader American society, which finds itself increasingly polarized along ethnic, political, social, cultural, and economic lines. In the second video, you were introduced to 3 Kappa brothers currently on active duty, who by their service and example are leading the way in their respective warfare communities, continuing the legacy of many of you who fought so hard to sustain this when you were in uniform. The Navy's initiative to refocus on people is being driven in part by the top-down listening sessions that have been ongoing for the past year. They are also being guided by the recommendations from a recently completed review known as Task Force 1 Navy. This effort was commissioned to identify and make recommendations to dismantle barriers to equality while creating opportunities that are sustainable over time, and with the goal of achieving and assuring warfighting excellence. In short, and this is the important piece, sustainable diversity, equity, and inclusion wrapped around warfighting excellence. Lofty goals indeed, and not mutually exclusive, as some would argue. Late last year, the Task Force 1 Navy team identified and evaluated issues in society and our military that detract from readiness, such as racism, sexism, structural and interpersonal issues, with a view toward putting in place significant and sustainable reform. It remains to be seen whether the individual initiatives that have been adopted will be achieved and the goals will achieve the goals envisioned. The processes being put in place are just now beginning to take shape. One of the Navy outcomes in the Task Force 1 study seeks to leverage military and civilian relationships with Divine Nine fraternities and sororities. The Army is already far ahead of the other services in developing and nurturing meaningful Divine Nine relationships. From my point of view, your awareness and support of these efforts with respect to your branch of service could do much to dispel the historic and pervasive perception in the African American community that military service in general, and the Navy in particular, does not offer diverse, inclusive, equitable, and rewarding career opportunities for minorities. It could also develop contacts with undergraduates, particularly at our HBCUs, that lead to trust and interest in Navy programs, particularly officer commissioning programs and career paths. So even though you may be retired, perhaps long retired, I invite you to re-engage with your branch of service through active support and membership in organizations like the Army's ROCS, the National Naval Officers Association, or NNOA, and AFCOMA, the Air Force Cadet Officer Mentor Association. If you are currently on active duty and you are not a member of one of these organizations, you are missing a golden opportunity to broaden your horizons and to share professional information and experiences with fellow soldiers, sailors, Marines, and airmen, and Coast Guardsmen. The march toward achieving true, complete, 100% diversity, equity, and inclusion will continue to be difficult, perhaps even elusive. It will take participation from all of us, retired and active duty, at all rank levels, to get a military version of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s promised land. The Department of Defense, that is all of the U.S. Armed Services, renewed attention, focus, and actions to work diligently and purposefully toward improving diversity, equity, and inclusion was no doubt sparked by national and societal outrage in the wake of George Floyd's murder. Whatever the reason, there is much work to do, and it is incumbent on us to seize the opportunity, work locally, regionally, and nationally as we are able to educate ourselves about and support the service's initiatives. It's not only the right thing to do, it is the American thing to do. If pursued with purpose, constancy, and consistency over time, these efforts will contribute decisively to improving operational and combat readiness at every level of command. Recognizing its shortcomings, the Navy has taken a proactive approach to listening and then acting to ensure that diversity, equity, and inclusion are natural components of every sailor, every officer's daily life and work. I was uniquely privileged during my Navy career to achieve several firsts for an African American serving in the Navy. My sense is that 245 years after the establishment of the United States Navy, first should occur only due to introduction of new technology and capabilities that enhance warfighting readiness. The renewed efforts to embrace in a meaningful and sustainable way the core principles of diversity, equity, and inclusion merits your attention and support. Operational readiness, combat readiness will be elevated, but only if we all give voice and attention to our role and do our part. So I ask you tonight, what is your role? What is your part? Once again, congratulations to tonight's awardees. I know, being who you are, you will not rest on past accomplishments, but will continue to forge new paths of achievement in all your endeavors. I salute you. Thank you for all your time and attention this evening. May God continue to shower his blessings and grace on each and every one assembled here tonight. And go Navy.
Thank you for your inspiring words, Brother Vice Admiral Moore. Your career and your achievements are legendary, And now we transition to the point in our program where we are going to recognize 4 brothers, Brother Admiral Moore, who are doing what you've encouraged us all to do, to stay engaged, to use our positions of influence to build the next generation so that we can create more Admiral Moores, more General Vi's, more Admiral Englishes among our networks inside and outside the military. The fundamental purpose of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated is achievement, and we encourage honorable achievement in every field of human endeavor. Tonight, we're recognizing brothers for their military success and their commitment to Kappa. Each of these brothers was nominated by one of our 12 Kappa provinces and selected by a panel of distinguished Kappas from several military branches. Our first awardee tonight is receiving the General Daniel Chappie James Memorial Award for Military Cadet Achievement. The 2021 recipient is Brother Cadet Joshua B. Jones. In addition to the Chappie James Award from Kappa, our partner, our sponsor, the Military Officers Association of America, is providing a $3,000 scholarship to Cadet Jones. Brother Jones is currently at military training, but we're fortunate to be joined tonight by U.S. Army Major General Kevin Vereen. He brings remarks about Cadet Jones and about our Army strategic partnership with Kappa Alpha Psi. Brother Major General Vereen.
Good evening, Brother Grant Polemarch, and all the members of our illustrious fraternity. I am absolutely honored and elated to be able to talk briefly about Cadet Joshua Jones, an outstanding young man who has really defined what we talk about, achievement in every field of human endeavor. As you all know, he is a cadet currently in training right here at Fort Knox, and he is aspiring to be a leader, not only in our fraternity, but a leader in the Army. And he's getting some quality training as we speak this evening. Cadet Jones is a student at James Madison University. He is currently studying integrated sciences and technology with a GPA of 3.0. He is currently finishing his 2nd week of training, so I know he is extremely stressed right now and probably a little tired. But we are excited to have him here for cadet summer training right here at Fort Knox, Kentucky. As you all know, U.S. Army Cadet Command and, of course, our leaders in the Army have a firm appreciation for our fraternity. And it is an honor for me to carry the weight and the load tonight to be able to present this young, outstanding cadet as he will eventually assume responsibility of leadership in our United States Army. So again, congratulations, Joshua Jones. Thank you.
Thank you very much, General Vereen, for your remarks about our brother Cadet Joshua Jones. Their next award is the John Milton Lee First to Fire Memorial Award. It is presented to a brother who is currently serving for their military service and achievements. This year's award goes to Brother Timothy Peters, Major, United States Army. Brother Peters, we're glad you can join us tonight.
Good evening to our distinguished guests. Protocol having been established, it is a privilege and honor to be with you brothers tonight as we celebrate our 85th Grand Chapter meeting. Although we are virtually and not in person, I can feel the brotherhood and the unity within this virtual atmosphere. Brother Grant Polemarch, good evening. General Vi, good evening, sir, and Chairman, good evening. It is esteemed honor once again. One thing I've always learned throughout my military career thus far is Kappa men aid for one another, whenever, wherever, and however needed. That is the true essence of brotherhood. And during my 14 years of being in this illustrious fraternity, it's been brothers like you, mentors like you, that have set the conditions and foundations for young brothers like myself to emulate and look up to. to my undergrad chapter, the Gamma Mu chapter, to all the alumni chapters that I've been fortunate enough to be a part of, to the Middle Eastern Province, Southeastern Province, and most importantly, to my current province, the Eastern Province, the Alexander Fairfax chapter, who nominated me for this prestigious award. I thank you kindly. I wish you all the blessed and continued blessings in all your field of human endeavor. And thank you for this great opportunity. Brother Chairman, thank you, sir.
Hear, hear. Congratulations again, Brother Peters. You make all of us proud. Look forward to you joining me down here in Fort Hood, Texas in the coming days. Our next award, Kappa has many military veterans. Tonight we present the Dr. F. George Palmer Award for Outstanding Military Veteran to a brother who's well known for his achievements inside the military and across our fraternity. A great leader of men, an inspiration and a mentor to many. We're joined by Brother Dwight Thomas, Colonel, United States Army, retired.
Thank you, Brother Caggins, and good evening to this distinguished group of panelists and leaders. I am truly honored to be among this group here, and I spent 32 years in the Army, and I'm very proud to say that as a joint officer, I have served with all of the services, and I can recall the days, that time that I spent with the Navy, working for the senior Navy SEAL at that time when we stood up the United States Special Operations Command. Anyhow, I started my career at Fort Bragg, and upon leaving the 82nd Airborne Division, I went to Germany. And upon arrival in Germany, I met a distinguished gentleman by the name of Dr. F. George Palmer. He was somewhat of a visionary, but also a mentor to many of us who passed through the doors of Germany. He originally was from Jamaica. He went to Germany to be a surgeon, and he helped to charter the Germany Alumni Chapter after a number of years of it being stood up as a Germany Alumni Association. And for almost 14 years, he served as the polemarch of that chapter. Quite a long time, but it's a reflection of his dedication and commitment to Kappa Alpha Psi. Dr. Palmer would be elated and extremely proud of the establishment of MVAC. From the time he conceived the Germany Alumni Association until the approval of the Germany Alumni Chapter, there have been hundreds, almost thousands of brothers who've entered the doors of what was previously the Federal Republic of Germany. But not only did he influence brothers in Germany, but also brothers throughout the entire European continent. And so today you would have even greater pride knowing that we serve in a much larger global capacity and international presence, particularly with chapters in the United Arab Emirates, Canada, Korea, and Bermuda. All of the brothers who have entered these doors, as well as Germany, have gone on to serve in greater roles and to improve our fraternity in every endeavor. It is Dr. Palmer that I owe a lot of thanks for the mentorship that he gave to me, along with so many others. Dr. Palmer epitomized the concept of international within our fraternity, a mantra that we've assumed over the last couple of decades. And so I certainly would put that tag on Dr. Palmer for helping to influence the fraternity's international standing today. So lastly, I would like to thank my past chapter polemarch, who just left office, Brother Rodney Robinson, who, along with Chairman Riley Jacobs, nominated me for this award. I'd like to thank the brothers of the Alexander Fairfax Alumni Chapter, the Eastern Province, also Chairman Major General Hawthorne Proctor, brothers that I served with on the MVAC presently and in the past, in particular Brother Andre Douglas, Brother Willie Pratt, and all of the MVAC team members for their dedication and support of my nomination for this prestigious honor. Lastly, I'd like to thank my personal mentors and role models and supporters like Ray Marbury, Joe Nickens, Chuck Parker, Lamont English, Brett Cook, and Rufus Clancy, a past Eastern Province polemarch who just went to the chapter Invisible a couple weeks ago. I met him in 1980, as I did General Doc Palmer upon my arrival there. So to all of them who guided me over the years, I thank them so much. And I am humbled and truly honored by this award. May God continue to bless all of us serving MVAC and all in our great fraternity. And I thank you for this prestige award that I'm honored to be bestowed with. Thank you very much.
Thank you and congratulations, Brother Thomas, for sharing with us some of your personal history with Dr. F. George Palmer, who also very much epitomized achievement in our fraternity. Our final award this evening is the Grand Polemarch Distinguished Award. This is an award that's presented on behalf of the Grand Polemarch to a brother for sustained achievements and contributions to Kappa Alpha Psi and our military. This year's recipient is Brother Keith L. Jackson, Lieutenant Colonel, United States Army, retired. Brother Jackson is being presented his award tonight by Brother Andre Douglas. Gentlemen.
Good evening, brothers. On behalf of Grand Polemarch, the Grand Polemarch, and our chairman, Brother Hawthorne Pete Proctor, I would like to present the Grand Polemarch Award to Brother Jackson. Brother Jackson. All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Good News. On behalf of Louisville Alumni Chapter, Election Alumni Chapter, the Capital Chapter, which I was initiated in back in 1984, I'm truly grateful for this award. When I think about Kappa Alpha Psi and I think about what it represents to me in my life, I go back to the first time I was going to try to join the fraternity, and they turned me down. And they said, you have to mature, you have to get better, you have to bring a mentality about achieving. And I worked on my grades. I had good grades at the time, but I worked on my grades. I associated more with the brothers to learn about what it is that they represented. And in the fall of 1984, they took me and allowed me to join this grand fraternity. And from that, it has always allowed me to be pushed forward, whether it was my military career or my civilian career. And the brothers have always been with me. General Vibe probably doesn't even recognize my name, but I can remember at one point receiving a letter from him talking about welcome to battalion command. And not knowing that he was a member of Kappa Alpha Psi, I was blown away by the fact that a 3-star general had sent me a letter. And then when I finally met him up in Indianapolis as a new battalion commander, his influence on me just by the position that he was in made me stronger. It made me want to be better. And so General Vi, you don't know it, but you had a great impact on me taking my battalion from number 12 to number 2 in my region. So Kappa has played a major role in my life. It's taken me to a point where I served as the first African American fire chief in Lexington, Kentucky. I'm the first African American leader of Commissioner of Veterans Affairs for the Commonwealth of Kentucky. So when you think about achieving and you think about those brothers in 1984 that turned me down because I wasn't ready, it prepared me for this point. And I'm so grateful for the Grand Polemarch recognizing me as with this award. And I'm so proud to be a member of Kappa Alpha Psi. And today is a culminating achievement. And like I said, I could go on and on about members of Kappa Alpha Psi throughout my military career that helped me. But I wanted to point out, General Vi, that letter that you sent me back in 2007 or 2009, it spurred me to go further. So thank you, General Proctor, and all those that are here assembled today. Major General Kevin Perrine, who's become not only a friend, but a good mentor and a good sounding board for me in my position. So thank you, brothers, and go Kappa. Yo.
Go Kappa. They told me no too. Congratulations to all our awardees. Thank you very much, Brother Jackson. Congratulations on your big award and your, again, sustained commitment to public service and being a great brother in Kappa Alpha Psi. We encourage all chapters to continue to nominate your military brothers and your veterans for recognition by the Military and Veterans Affairs Commission. It is now my honor, my distinct honor and privilege to introduce our 72nd Laurel Wreath awardee, retired U.S. Army General Dennis Vi. From his ROTC days at Virginia State University, where he pledged at the Alpha Phi chapter, General Vi rose to the rank of 4 stars. Without further ado, Brother General Dennis Vi.
Well, thank you, Brother Caggins, and good evening. First of all, to Grand Polemarch Reuben Shelton III, such an honor to have you with us tonight. We don't take it for granted that this is a conclave. You have much to do on your plate and your responsibilities in this event, even if it is virtual, probably even more so as we're finding in this virtual world that we're operating in now. But thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your service to our fraternity. And thank you for taking the time to grace us with your presence tonight. Also to your First Lady, I remember that first event that you attended as the Vice Grand Polemarch and your bride. And it was such a wonderful evening. And thank you so much for continuing to support this great event. To all of our brothers of the fraternity, our military veterans, those serving on active duty, those retired, other special guests who've joined us this evening, thank you for taking time to participate in this 85th virtual conclave Military and Veterans Affairs Awards program. Acknowledging protocol being observed and already, I'd like to acknowledge our color guard tonight and presenting the colors in such a magnificent way, and the tribute to our fallen prisoners of war and our missing in action. Those are special traditions for all of our services, and we take great pride in the way those are presented. And I know there are some senior non-commissioned officers working in the background, our brothers, to make that such a special event, and thank you for doing so. To our featured service, Rear Admiral English, you did, Brother English, you did us very well tonight. You raised the bar. I thought the Marine Corps did well a couple of years ago. You raised the bar. Those videos were special. And they're special because they tell the story of our young brothers who are out making their mark in the Navy and representing the service and our fraternity in such a grand way. And thank you for your leadership, certainly in that presentation. And then to be followed by Brother Vice Admiral retired Edward Moore. Thank you for your inspirational remarks tonight on a topic that is at top of mind for our military services, not only our military service, but the nation at large. And in the position we're in today, after you sacrifice all that you've sacrificed in your career, thank you for continuing to lead the way to make sure that we talk about sustainable diversity and inclusive initiatives, because that's what contributes to readiness of our forces. That contributes to the protection of our nation that our citizens enjoy. And it certainly contributes to all of us continue to achieve in every field of human endeavor. Please allow me to add my congratulations to all of our award recipients. I have to tell you, Brother Jackson, after you made those comments, I very well could have just exited the stage and not said anything else. It was so heartwarming, but it also goes to show that you never know how something impacts an individual, and especially a member of fraternity. Small things do matter. And while I may not remember that letter, you've made me remember the impact. And I appreciate that, as well as all of our awardees tonight. Congratulations to you. You represent the very best of our military service. You represent the very best of our fraternity. Our fraternity has always led in our armed forces. It's already been mentioned about 7 of our founders serving. But I want to remind you that Elder Watson Diggs, when he served, he achieved the rank of captain in the United States Army. This is back in World War I. If we think about that today, unprecedented, but that's what he achieved. And we're all standing on their shoulders. It was because they led the way to allow us to achieve what we achieve today. And it's our responsibility to ensure that we keep this legacy going forward. So again, to the Military Veterans Affairs Committee under the leadership of Major General Hawthorne Pete Proctor, you did it again. You presented us a wonderful evening of fellowship, of recognition. And while we would have preferred to be in person, and we will have that opportunity again in the future, to be able to socialize and celebrate in person, through your diligence, through your persistence, through your professionalism, you made this evening very special for our awardees and for all of our military veterans and all of our brothers. And we thank you for your leadership, and we thank the committee for its service. Again, as we go forward, I wish all of you continued Godspeed. Again, to our Grand Polemarch, Reuben Shelton III. Thank you so much for your leadership. Thank you for what you continue to do in representing Kappa and ensuring that we're always where we need to be able to lead and go forward. God bless you, and have a wonderful evening. Congratulations once again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, General Vi. We appreciate you for your enduring positive example, your mentorship to many, and your handwritten notes for decades, and blazing a trail for many of us, but of course, always being mindful that we're following in the footsteps of giants, including our founding members. Tonight, as we come to a close, we want to take a moment to thank our sponsors. Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated has forged a partnership with the United States Army, and the United States Army recognizes that our brotherhood is a great source, a great incubator for talent and leadership. And every year we're producing cadets and midshipmen who serve as military officers. So we thank the U.S. Army's Cadet Command in particular for our sponsoring us, and our friends at the Military Officers Association of America too. We're honored that everybody is continuing to show continued support for our active duty military, our National Guard, our reserve, our veterans and retirees, and those family members who have to endure sometimes long, lonely nights and moves every 2 or 3 years to faraway places to keep everything going and supporting our troops. Let's close out tonight on a festive note. We close these banquets, these formal award presentations with a medley of service songs. So as the songs play as you are at home, feel free to sing along when you hear your song come on. So thanks again, everyone. And now let's hear our patriotic service songs.
Good.
All right, well, we want to thank all of our guests tonight, and on behalf of the Military and Veterans Affairs Commission, we give one more thanks. We look forward to seeing you all in 2 years in person. God bless Kappa Alpha Psi, God bless our troops, and God bless America. Good night.